Hey guys, welcome to episode 3 of Untitled Depression. Before I continue, thank you to everyone who has liked, shared, and subscribed so far. I do appreciate it. It means the absolute world to me. Whether it's feedback on microphone quality, visual quality, turn the camera sideways, content, questions about content, my own personal journey, I thank you so much. I do appreciate the interactions. Before I continue, shout out to ProSmart, Essex Boolyard, Mr. Peace Corner Shop, Street_Art, Leapfrog Combat Sports, Buy Alkindi, Evolve Drinks, Y-Weight, Power Up Supplements, Asia Teak, London Detailing Centre, Fat Cafe, Millennial Money, Prime Gen. Awesome creators out there, whether you want American candy, your car detailed, car sanitized, tints put in, really nice Pan Asian food or just comfort food, supplements for the gym. Y-Weight Fitness will give you workout routines and workout motivation. Millennial Money give you money advice. Prime Gen will give you videography and photography advice. Everything's there. Even if you want beard oil, Buy Alkindi will give you the best beard oil you can get for yourself or for your partner or a dad or an uncle, whatever it is. Everything is literally there. So without further ado, I'll be looking into depression, its various types. The reason being is it's too general a term. It's tough to self-diagnose. When you look at depression, it's just a really dark grey pool that you may find yourself in. So it's best to understand what kinds you have, what kind you may have, what kind you can see in someone else or a loved one. So without further ado, I'll be looking at 4 types: biological, situational, psychological, existential. The first one is easy one to look at, is situational. I say easy very loosely, by the way. You may have noticed your mood changing, your lack of energy, your lack of motivation and focus during this COVID-19 lockdown. You could have cried for a week or a month or a year after a very bad, breakup, a divorce, something like that. You could have changed as a person after losing a loved one for a period of time. If you've ever experienced those things, congratulations, you're very normal. You're a human being. And this is what you call situational depression. As humans, we feel complete sadness to very strong negative events, and that is totally fair. I would go as far as say it's probably abnormal to not feel anything than to feel something. It's just part of being human. The only thing I would say is you will eventually work your way through it. The end may not seem visible if you're not using professional help to deal with your emotions. The only time I'd recommend professional help, in my humble opinion, is when you consider self-harm or suicide. Then please speak to someone, a professional or a loved one. They'll give you the advice that you need. I just want to caveat that with, if you do have these thoughts cropping up in your head, you may lapse into the other types of depression that I'll talk about later. But as I was saying, it's part of being human. The positive to that is, because so many people go through it, you have a good amount of company and potential support bubbles that you can reach out to. Again, that's not always a good thing, because as we know, we can receive unwanted, unsolicited advice with our situational depression. I would say that if someone doesn't ask you advice, don't give it. If you don't want advice, just say to that person, listen, I appreciate what you're trying to do. I just have to deal with this myself. You may come across as rude, but you're saving yourself a lot of pain in the long run. Friends and family that I know have told me, stop feeling so sorry for yourself, move on. So many people have it worse than you. That's great, that may be true, but I don't want to hear this right now, because this can only make someone feel worse, not better. Because they'll feel guilty for how they feel, and they need to process their emotions to get through this. I have had a teacher say to me at school, 18th birthday in my A2 year, my cousin died on my 18th birthday. And he said, I had a family member pass away during my school time, and I got down to it. I looked at him and I thought, that's fair. But in hindsight, I wish he just got off my back a bit and gave me the time I need to process it. Because even though he wasn't in the same country as me, I was very close to him. My whole family was. He's the most lovable person in my whole family. It's a very sad moment for all of us. But we all dealt with it differently. So if you are going through this, I'm very sorry that you're going through this, but it's normal and you're going to get through it. I can't give you a time frame, but it's going to happen. So secondly, let's look at biological depression. This starts because of physiological reasons. You may have an imbalance in your neurotransmitters like dopamine or serotonin, anything like that, or an imbalance in your hormones like estrogen, testosterone, progesterone. that naturally is going to affect your mood and also your physiology. So this imbalance can lead to you feeling despair or apathy. Oh, for those who don't know, apathy is a lack of interest, enthusiasm, or concern. So that's just an imbalance of your hormones and neurotransmitters, but you might also have physiological abnormalities like hypothyroidism that makes it impossible for you to achieve your goals because you're so lackluster in motivation. A disruption in your physiology can give you low arousal, low libido, constant fatigue, low metabolism, poor concentration, and your cognitive ability slow down as well. Just a big FYI, low arousal is not depression, neither is low libido. That is something else, and I'm not qualified to give advice on, so don't ask me. What this depression does is it makes your day-to-day living very difficult. You won't be able to achieve the tasks you set your mind to. So what happens is when you set tasks yourself, you then fail to achieve those tasks or fail to complete those tasks. And then you fall into a negative thinking pattern, and then low self-esteem just creeps in and low self-value will creep in. So we see here depression is not the direct result of this, but it's an indirect consequence of these physiological or biochemical changes. So whether we like it or not, these biological factors more often than not lead to depressive symptoms, and you're just in a vicious cycle. At this point, some things need to break the cycle. You need to get to the root objective, like what is causing this, and more often than not, you'll be identified if there's an issue with a gland that produces a hormone or neurotransmitter, or it's just a neurotransmitter imbalance, not enough is being produced or being broken down for more to be used. So this is where medication comes in. So this is where traditional antidepressants are very useful, because they will start to put in those positive inputs, that dopamine, that serotonin. Or you can go for the medical treatment if you have hypothyroidism to nip these things in the bud, as it were. I say nip these things in the bud very loosely. I personally haven't felt this type. The only thing I can sort of relate to is heavy weight gain, which then affects my mood. But that's a different topic. I suppose that is self-worth from how we look and how comfortable we are with ourselves. The next type is what you associate with depression most, is psychological depression. It's linked to psychological factors as it is given name. It's based on losing perspective, unrealistic expectations, negative self-talk. We've all been there before, so let's talk about this. This stems from having our hopes and dreams crushed, whether it be once, twice, or multiple times. You may cast your mind back to a project you put your mind to, and it's shattered around you, and it changes a person. The way we deal with this is we just stop hoping for the future or having dreams, because we feel as if we don't have anything to hope for or aspire to, we can't be hurt, which is, as you imagine, a very effective coping mechanism, but it changes you as a person. So when people overuse this mechanism, they have attachment issues, become very hopeless naturally, and you have apathy. So apathy, again, lack of enthusiasm or concentration or concern for anything. I actually have a friend, he asked me not to name him, but he was doing a business, put all his heart and soul into it, blood, sweat, tears, the whole 9 yards, 110% effort every day, and for reasons outside his control, the whole thing fell through. And he changed as a person. And what he did was he stopped caring about this, and that translated across relationships, friendships, personal life, professional life, everything he did, sport. The guy just gave up. Now, there's a very tenuous link to situational depression where you've lost someone, so you stop caring for someone else. So this is where the situational depression and psychological depression overlap. Now, we overuse this defense mechanism in all aspects of life when we start to, but there's another thing that causes this as well, and that is romantic relationships. More often than not, we all know this couple that need to break up because they're bringing out the worst in each other, not because they're terrible people, but because they're just bad for each other. This is called separation anxiety. Separation anxiety, basically, you stay with someone even if it's clear you want different things in life because you're so afraid you'll never find someone else, which then has a knock-on effect leading to psychological depression. Word of advice: if you're in a situation, break up, get the fuck out. Don't care about what society says, don't care what your mum and dad say, don't care what your friends say, your siblings. Do it for yourself, get out of there. I know people that have been here, and more often than not, actually no, 100% they're happier in the long run after they've split up with this person. Because it may seem like the end of the world, may seem like it's possible, but get it done. No matter the physical, financial cost, whatever it is, because you need to value yourself first. The last one is the trickiest. It's tricky because I didn't even know this existed till I looked back on my personal life after doing the research. So this is existential depression. So we spoke about situational depression where a negative event occurs and we feel sad. That's what we expect depression to be, right? Sorry, I was catching my breath. Got a bit of a sore throat. Don't worry, it's not COVID. The trigger to existential depression is actually a positive event. Now, that may seem absolutely mad to you, but it's something when you achieve something you're looking forward to for a long time. This starts because in our youth or in our adolescent years, or maybe a bit later in life, we set ourselves to a very big goal that has given our life shape and meaning. The goals to which we aspire could be a career thing. You want to be a barrister, you want to be a doctor, you want to be a cancer research scientist, you want to be the world boxing champion, you want to be a Premier League footballer, whatever it may be. It could be something like having a child, if you've come from a dysfunctional family, have a happy family, or possibly, just accomplishing a mad feat like climbing the Himalayas or Kilimanjaro or something like that. Or taking a trip to a exotic destination. I've been to like Bhutan, that's on my list, but that's something altogether. But I'm just giving you an example. Now, whatever this goal is, we've put our whole life around the attainment of this goal itself. And we've created this expectation that when we achieve this, we're going to get this unending stream of happiness and satisfaction. In some cases, for people that really want it, it does give them that. But many times it doesn't. So you spend your whole life pursuing this single goal and then realize it doesn't bring you any joy at all. And this is enough to send you into existential crisis. So let me recap that. You have a goal, you reach it, doesn't give you satisfaction you want. You start to then going, what the fuck have I done with my life? Existential crisis. And the questions that people ask themselves, was my entire life a waste of time? If achieving this goal didn't give my life meaning, will it ever have meaning? Where do I go from here? These are these types of questions you ask yourself, and this person then goes into question everything they believe to be true. They reevaluate friendships, relationships, professional decisions, personal decisions. Everything goes in the air, and they're very confused, and they're sitting basically in a big empty white room mentally. So what then starts happening is things that gave them pleasure in life stop giving them pleasure. Sounds weirder than it is, but I mean, like, a person may have enjoyed drawing or painting or going for a walk with their dog. They suddenly feel lost. By lost, I mean they have no direction anymore. They've peaked too early, as it were. This is something we heard, but this is where we can use this term. They've peaked. They've done it. What do they do now? I'm going to give you some examples where this is, if you haven't, listen to Tyson Fury, the heavyweight boxing champion of the world. He achieved the world titles after being Klitschko. And you see it with Mike Tyson as well. So both the Tysons, look at them. They did it. They got to the top. Baddest man on the planet in their times. Insane athletes. Peak fitness, peak ability, peak technical ability, respected worldwide. Both of them lost the plot, spent cash, gained enormous weight, took Class A drugs, almost went to prison. One of them did go to prison and change. Why? Because once they reached these goals they set themselves, they didn't have any direction in life afterwards. Ricky Hatton's another example. If you check out Ronaldinho, the footballer, same thing. These guys become the best in the world or something. They set their life to it and do it. And more often than not, they lose the plot afterwards. I had the same thing when I was 17, 18. I realised, I've been grooved into wanting to be a doctor and believed that's what I wanted. And when I realised I didn't want it, my life essentially lost meaning for a short period of time. And I got through it by discovering sport. Muay Thai essentially saved me. Shout out KO Gym, Bill Judd, Brad, Greg, Richmond, Abdul. Love for you guys. Existential depression is mad because you can't just take a pill to get a new identity or purpose, and it won't. And that then, an antidepressant is not going to give you the meaning of life. What I would say is, what people have told me is, they've started to read. When you intake new knowledge after this event in your life, you're suddenly able to re-educate yourself, and that will help you reevaluate the world, as it were. Some people turn to religion. That's beautiful because that's a direction to life. I know people that reverted or chosen other religions. and they've gone on to give their life better meaning, and they've become better people as a result. Which leads me on to this. If you are going through existential depression, you're not alone. It's okay if you're questioning anything from, I've achieved something, I don't know what to do, I'm questioning my own sexuality, anything like that. It's okay. It's good that you are. I would say that if you're feeling lost, it's okay to feel lost. It's perfectly acceptable. All I can say is seek the help of people who have been in a similar position, potentially speak to a therapist, but don't write yourself off. Don't go down the path of looking for quick wins to try and become something else. Don't throw your hat at something and be like, I'm going to do this now, I've become a doctor, I don't like it, I'm going to become a comedian. I mean, if you want to try it. It would take your time. You don't want to rebound into something else, as it were, because that's very common. And then when you don't accomplish that, and then that's a whole different dark path to go down. So take your time to find out who you are as an individual, because that's so important. It's okay to have multiple types of depression I just spoke about. You can have situational, existential, psychological, biological at the same time if you're an unlucky bastard, and that's okay. You're going to get through it. You're going to need professional help. Sorry, just got a message from my sister saying, are you recording? Yes, I am. Continue. Now, multiple types, again, can't stress enough, it's okay. None of them are mutually exclusive. They can all overlap. So I'm just going to leave you with two things. I hope you understood the different types of depression. Again, there are subcategories within these subcategories, and I'll be looking at them further on. If you feel at any point that life isn't worth living, seek help. People would always want to listen to you talk about your pains rather than come to your funeral or watch you hurt yourself and be in hospital. I'm talking from first-hand experience, not for myself, but for loved ones around me. Anyone who knows me knows what I've been through last year. So, yeah. I've kept this under 20 minutes because it's quite a deep video in the sense that it can make you question everything you've gone through, but also because I want to leave you with content that's easy to digest, so I won't be doing long videos, as it were, from now on. The next couple will be interesting. I'll be talking about depression and substance abuse, depression and body dysmorphia, understanding why Asian or any kids are so messed up by our parents. Narcissistic parents is one, and then another one is the stress of being a single mum. I'm going to have a couple guests on in these podcasts. I hope you do enjoy them. But other than that, guys, thanks for listening. If you haven't, subscribe. If you can, please share this video, because if it doesn't help yourself, it might help someone else and educate them. That's the whole point of this video today. Thank you. Much love. Please follow the government guidelines. Don't overload the NHS. Quarantine if you're not feeling well. Maintain social distance. It's just a couple months and we'll be out of this shortly. Mwah.